Today we're gonna highlight this mohawk section, basically just coloring the part line. This is a quick way to kind of refresh highlights in between visits. First, you need to part your hair where you always part it. We're gonna make our sectioning around that part line. I always part my hair in the middle, so I'm gonna make a rectangle around the middle. It will look like this. My part line is here. I'm gonna make a rectangle around it. If you always part your hair to the right or to the left, you're gonna caulk this to the right or to the left, just like this. We're gonna use this cream lightener. It's from Sally's. Typically you mix this in a 1-to-2 ratio, meaning it's 1 part bleach or lightener to 2 parts of the developer. Because we're doing this on ourselves, I would recommend doing a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning 1 part lightener, 1 part developer. This is going to make the lightener a lot thicker, a frosting-like consistency, so it doesn't slippery slope out the foils. A quick way to do this is with a TBSP. I'm just gonna do 1 TBSP of lightener, equal parts, so 1 TBSP of developer. I'm using 10 volume because I'm doing this on myself. It's going to be slower, so I don't want it to lift super fast. Take your brush, mix this up. You'll need a comb that looks like this, a wire rat tail comb. Take a horizontal subsection. Does that look straight? Horizontal. Typically when you highlight hair, you never really want to highlight the hairline because when it grows out, it's an obvious disconnect. So make sure you just leave that out. Take your rat tail comb at a slight 45 and just shave off the top. It can be as thick or as thin as you want. I'm doing extremely thin slices, but if you wanted to weave it, this is the time where you would up, down, the hair. I have a video on weaving and slicing I'll put in the description box if you need help on how to correctly do that. You'll take your foil, rat tail comb, do one of these, hold this hair really tight, take your foil in the middle and push this down, just like this. Pushing it down versus just placing it in kind of teases it a little bit. That's gonna ensure you have a softer line. Hold this really tight. The comb should stay with how tight you're holding it. Or taut. Slip this out. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. You're holding this straight down, but you're gonna kind of fold this side till one eyeball is out. It's the one-eyed approach. It does get easier when we start moving up. All right, drop your lightener off in the middle, horizontal. Take it vertical at the top there. This will also make sure you have a soft line. Do not extend past the foil line. Actually, keep it a little bit below because lightener swells with the heat of your scalp. It expands. You don't want it flying out the foil. The ends are pre-lightened, so I'm going to just slightly, whoop, fold this in half and tap, tap. You do not want to zip lock the foil like this. That's going to push the color or lightener up, and where the crease is, you'll have a spot that's not being colored. You'll get a little cheetah mark. I'm just gonna leave mine like that. You can also fold in the sides if you want. Moving on, you're gonna take another horizontal section down. Make sure it's straight. Typically there's hair between foils, that's what creates dimension, but you decide how much hair you want that to be. You can really compact these or space them further out like I'm going to. Here we go, slicing off the top. Okay, that one looks a little too thick for me, so I'm gonna refine it. For the foil, you can fold this little lip this way, or you can do it the opposite way, where it's going to be on the bottom. This is really helpful because it helps prevent a tiger stripe. The little lip will catch any leakage that will come out. So if you're worried about that, you can do it that way. Getting my one eyeball out, but I'm also making sure that I'm not moving the foil. Not so I can see horizontal to vertical. I know this color brush looks crazy. That's because it is. Look at it. I've had this for 16 years. It was my first color brush in beauty school. It's my favorite. And we repeat, another horizontal subsection. If you're doing this on yourself, by yourself, you're going to copy what I'm doing. If a buddy is doing this, they're actually gonna start in the back here. Foil, foil. The foils will be laying this way. So they'll be foiling towards themselves. The reason we do it forward is because although it is really hard, doing it back first will create a lot of slippage and it just starts getting in the way. Is slippage a word? What about sliding? Okay, oh, that's not even straight. Oops. Okay, that's a good point. If your parting line is not straight, your foil is sure as heck not gonna be straight. Same thing, sliver off the top. Take the rat tail at a mild 45 and slice it off. You can slice it, or if you want to, go ahead and weave it or use the weaving comb. And actually we can weave this one so you can see it. I've got my slice here. I'm gonna hold it really tight. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Grab what's on top. The rest of this goes down here. Foil, there's space in between the hair. Chunky weave. Drop my lightener off horizontally. Turn my brush vertically to soften this up, not extending past the foil, staying a little bit below. This is gonna swell up. Lightly brushing my ends. They're already kind of blonde. It repeats itself. Horizontal subsection, slicing off the top, however thick or thin you want it. If you're doing thicker slices, make sure that you can still see through it. If you put your hand, you should be able to see your hand through it. You don't want them too thick or chunky. The color's not gonna saturate well through that. That one looks fine. All right, get your foil. And my foils honestly aren't as neat as I would like. Well, if we're being completely honest, my whole hairdressing career, I've always used paper. It's a little thick right there. When comparing the two, paper is really expensive to use. I just prefer it. It's easier, it looks neater. I have OCD, so it just makes me feel better in that way. Horizontal, vertical. This does get easier as we're moving up, but I want to stress that this is not easy. It's not easy to do it on a client, and it's really not easy to do it on yourself. Make sure you're giving yourself grace, especially if this is your first time. Yes, it gets easier as you move back, but it's also going to get way easier your second, third, fourth, fifth time doing it. I still struggle, and I've been highlighting my hair like this for a really long time. It's hard to try to get it up there. Your hands are up the whole time. They're sore. You're trying to make sure you don't get it out of the foil. Take a deep breath. You can do it. That's also why I would suggest, I've got my flipper in, suggest using a low volume developer, 10 volume. This is gonna take some time. Just think of the money you're saving. Typically at the apex, the highest point of the head, the hair will kind of rainbow out. It doesn't have a straight all the way to here, part line. You would foil this in a rainbow according to how your hair falls. I'm just gonna leave it like that. We'll get into that later on. For lightener or bleach, there really is no set processing time. You're watching it with your eyeballs. And try not to touch these. Don't be doing woo because they're gonna slip. I'm gonna take a look at my first foil. And that one's done. If it took you a really long time and the first few are done, you would take a towel, take the foil out and spray it out. Wipe it with the towel. There's the last one. It's working pretty fast. I'm gonna let this one catch up with this one and just shampoo this section out so I can show you. It will need a toner. In fact, anytime you bleach or lighten, it's going to need a toner. It's gonna be a yellow or orange. I already know it's going to be yellow. You can see it through there. Here it is. It obviously needs a toner. It blends the shadow root a lot better compared to when you look at it down here. I will tone it sometime. I did cut my mullet off. I've just been wearing it up. It's in a weird stage where it's not long. It's definitely not long, but it's not super short. It's medium and it gets on my nerves and I sweat a lot, so just get it off my body. That wraps up our part line highlights. If you have any questions, comments, make sure to leave them below. In the description box will be all the products we used, key points, similar videos, and my main channel. If you want to watch that, I'm there every Sunday.